In this video, we go through how to clean and service your differentials on a Team Corally. Alright, so we're gonna start off with stuff you need. For the Corallys, 2.5mm Allen, hex, or whatever you want to call it. Need a bucket. I'm gonna use some brake cleaner for the metal parts, and I'm just gonna wipe the plastic parts off. Gotta be a bit more careful with them. We got some oil for the bearings. We've got some diff fluid for the diffs. I've got some new parts from Corally, V2 parts from the V2 upgrade package, so I'm gonna put them in too. But let's just get right to it so we get something done. So start off by taking these four off to take the center differential apart. I'm gonna start with that one because, strangely enough, my Dementor had grease in all three diffs, but this one definitely grease, or if there's anything in there, but these ones actually have a bit of resistance, so a bit curious to see what's in them because they might have been serviced already. But we'll take it apart and we'll have a look. Normally I wouldn't recommend using a machine, but probably just crack them loose with a small key, and then you can use the machine to just get them out quicker. But you want to be careful so you don't strip them, because that's no fun at all. Might be time for me to get a few of the new tips for this power tool thing. I've noticed that they seem to slip a bit. Be a bit careful on, make sure you got a sort of a know-how about where you've got the screws and everything. Should be coming apart now. Oh, there it is. Oh no. Oh yeah, it survived. So I'm gonna reuse this gasket because I'm a cheapo, so I'm just gonna take it very carefully with it. Wipe it down a little bit from the old grease. Doesn't hurt that it's a bit of grease on there because that makes it seal better. And wipe it off a little bit. But it's a paper gasket, so be careful if you want to use it again. Don't know what grease has been used in this. Yep, as you can see, well, there's pretty much nothing in there. So let's start taking that apart. Make sure you don't lose, because there's little spacers or shims in this. So be careful not to lose that. Get that out. Need one needle nose plier to get the little pin out. And there's a little washer in here too, so I'm gonna take that out because there's a sealer, little O-ring in here. I want to keep that somewhat safe and clean. That's pretty much it. Same thing goes for this, just poke it off. Oop. Alright, so we're just gonna be spraying this down a little bit with the brake cleaner. Don't really need to spray those down because they're not going back in. Alright, when you've dosed this for a little bit, it's just to start wiping it down. I think I'm gonna get a different rag because that was filthy. Grab this one. So, I usually just try to start with parts and just try to get them cleaned off. Of course there was a big lump in that, but it's a bit of... It all depends on how tedious you want to be. In some cases, when it's just been, if it's a simpler model or something, I've just pretty much just filled it up with grease to make sure it's all, or oil, to make sure they're good. And I haven't had a single fail, so it's a bit how much effort you want to put in. Looks really good. There's no damages, no slippage, nothing that looks like it's been damaged at all, so it's lasted pretty good even though it's just been greased. But I don't know how long he drove it. This is from my Kronos and they're about to go into my Dementor because I'm putting the Dementor back together after having had it apart for a very long time. So, as you might understand, I've done a few of these, so I have taken apart a few of them. So just take your time. If you're doing it on a Corally, there's very detailed manuals on their webpage, which is good. But otherwise, yeah, it's already time to put it back together. Just gonna wipe these down a bit. Sort of just listen, make sure they're good, which they seem to be. I do try to oil them up again. I use this one, it's a skateboard thing. I reckon that, well, any bearing oil you could find would do the same thing, so it's not anything special. Just try to work that oil in a little bit into the bearing and let it sort of sip in through the shields. You really should be taking the shield off, but yeah, I'm too lazy for that. wipe it down a bit. Sure it's somewhat clean. Just oiling it up. Wipe this down again because you don't want it too greasy when you're starting to put stuff together. Like, you want to make sure it's pretty much just the fluid that you want in there. Oh. Last and definitely not least, wipe this thing out. Normally I wouldn't want to use premium plastic. Yeah, I don't really have any other choice right now, so it's gonna have to do. Still got a bit of grease in there, I don't know how that's gonna affect it, but I'll try and clean the most of it out. I've got these things I might be able to use. I know where I put it. These little dental trays. Put lumps of grease. See that? Yeah, it's a bit of work to clean it out at this level. I don't know if it's gonna make a difference or not, but figured why not. I think that's gonna have to be as clean as it's gonna get this time. Ideally, like on the last time, I used an aluminium housing instead. I didn't have to clean it out this badly. This is just annoying. But it all depends, I guess, how much effort you want to put in. So let's have a look, because these are a bit different. As you can see, just make sure you take the right ones if you got the V2 upgrade. So these are for the front and rears, and that's for the center. And a lot of people have been complaining about wear and tear. I can't really see much of it. I haven't had any major issues with it. maybe just to push this little washer down, yeah, I'm just gonna use this needle nose and try to like that. Take the pin, find one of these slots, so you can sort of get it down there. Get that in there. Just get this back on. And that's it. That's that one on. Let's move on to the next part. This little planet gears, I think they're called. Make sure you seat them down properly. Make sure that you find these slots and match them up in the differential. Like you can see that that slot should match with that across. Otherwise, it won't be fitting properly. Don't forget the little O-ring. Sorry, bit of a dry throat. Get this back on. Then it's time to fill it up with 100K. That's what I'm gonna run in this center diff. So even if you've got the plastic housings, it's pretty important to make sure you do this because they have a tendency to melt otherwise. This is a slow process. Sorry if I covered the camera, but just had to have some extra help of my hands. I'm gonna let that sit for a little bit. So whilst we're waiting for that to sort of settle in, we might as well just open up the other ones. Alright guys, so basically I think it's just time to finish this up. I've had to have a few days off from filming and yeah, it's just dragged out a lot, so I'm gonna try and wipe this down before I get started. But otherwise it's just to put the lids back on. So the center diff has 100K oil, fluid, whatever you want to call it. I'm using, yeah, team associated factory team stuff, 100,000 CST. That's what I've got in the middle. Make sure you get your gasket back on. I've used a bit of marine grease to keep this wheel on. It makes it a little bit easier when you're assembling it. So just plop this on, something like that. Because the fluid is that thick, it's not going to be coming out. That's the 2.5 mil. Pretty sure that's what we need. Nope. We need the 2mm for whatever reason. And it's not here. Oh well, we've got this. It's gotta be a bit careful threading this in. Just making sure you're not cross-threading into the plastic. It's a bit easier with aluminium stuff. It's just in with some Loctite and tighten it up and it's done. It's a lot more durable. So if you do have a Corally, I'd probably recommend you to get the 70-75 houses. I definitely think they're worth the money. As you can see, I'm not pulling it all the way down, I'm just stopping right before. I'm gonna try to cross pull a little bit here. I don't know if that's necessary, but it just feels more like something you should do. Maybe we'll just get a screwdriver for it instead. Which I should have had here somewhere. I'll have to do. That's it. It's 1. 2. 3. Don't do that. Alright, that's all 4. Check them a little bit, but be careful. Just make sure they're all tight. Remember, it's in plastic, so don't overdo it. Alright. Sometimes you get a little bit of leakage. I had a little bit here, that's all. Be mindful how much you fill them up. But so just to make sure to compare just how much heavier this now is to roll. So that's gonna save this differential hopefully. And yeah, I think I'm gonna do the rest ones off video. It's taking long enough already. But for now, remember to subscribe if you like the content, thumbs down if you don't, thumbs up if you like it for this video, and try to stay safe.